Welcome back to the channel, guys. Zach with Money Pit RC. Today's episode is going to be another Sunday recap. I got a lot of good feedback about the last episode. So if you guys are new here, this is an episode where we go over what we did in the past week, our current builds, what we're working on, what's on the bench and all that. Let's get going with today's episode. So as you can see, the bench is kind of messy. So let's clean this up first, and then we'll get going on the first project. First up on the bench is the RCAWD build. So this past week we did receive the High Trail High Clearance links from Enduro, which they are 10 millimeters longer than the stock links. So I get a lot of questions asked. So the one in my hand from ball end to ball end is 65 millimeters. And this is the rear link. So from ball end, kind of roughly to ball end, is about 75 millimeters. So the rear links are 10 millimeters longer. And then this is the front link. So we got about 51 millimeters. And then the ones on the high trails are about 56 millimeters. So overall, stretched at about 15 millimeters, the whole wheelbase. Also, last time we ran it, we stripped out the plastic rear diff gears. So we did install the Enduro overdrive gears, front and rear. So the front wheels will spin faster than the rear, just to give it that little bit more wheel speed in the front so it can grip better. They are steel gears, so they should last pretty long. And then as we were out running it, we snapped a rear drive shaft. Thankfully, we had some RCL wheel drive shafts laying around. They are for the TRX4M Bronco and Defender, but they fit on this just fine. So I did run my stock plastic drive shafts from my Bronco on this after I did do the high clearance links from the High Trail, and they worked just fine. I had a lot of people ask me that question, so yes, you can run the Bronco and Defender drive shafts. So now that we got this thing sitting good, my only issue is that I think it sits too low. So I might have to play around some shock angles, maybe put some stock springs back in just to give it a little bit more height. But other than that, it's sitting good, it drives good. I'm really happy with how this turned out. All right, so last week I did say the electronics was what was lacking. So thankfully enough, we installed this 2-speed transmission from RC all-wheel drive. It's a 72 turn 130 brushed motor. It is a shiftable 2-speed transmission. It's got a high and low range gear. I did do a full video on this transmission. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can check that video out. It crawls well, it's got a good low range gear. I can't complain about anything. And then also we put on these brand new RC all-wheel drive brass beadlock wheels. They got a good look to them, very heavy, got good weight. Also the new tires. So other than the motor and the wheels, everything pretty much is the same, but I do enjoy the 2-speed transmission. I'm really glad that there's more options out there for this that can go on these micro crawlers. So for this build, what should we do next? Leave a comment below. So up next on the bench, you guys might notice this, it is the Dragonfly LCG chassis. We finally got all the electronics squared away. We put a Reefs 99 micro servo in it. We put the FuryTech micro Komodo motor and plate, all along with the Lizard Pro ESC. So we got all the electronics squared away. We got everything where we're supposed to put it. So up next is the body, which we did just receive in the mail today. So we're gonna get that painted, get this installed, and then we are gonna do a full video on the Dragonfly LCG chassis once I get this one fully squared away. So you know, when you get a good build going, you get everything installed, you wanna give it a little test drive. So With the Reefs 99, it gives a good steering angle, and also with the aluminum axle housings, we snapped both front axle shafts. So they are just the stock ones, the +4mm ones. So we snapped both of them. Yeah, you know, I'd rather do it now than when we get the build done. So I did order the universal style, which I do have in my cliffhanger build. So it replaces the stock pin setup with the universal joints, which help with the steering angle, which gives it the steering angle. And then, because that's the issue, once you get the good steering angle, the pins like to pop out of the cups and then it just snaps it. So the universal joints help with that. Like I said, I do have it in my other build and I haven't had an issue since. So we're gonna get those installed, finish this build up, and then hopefully by next video, I'll have a full review on this chassis. So if you follow my Instagram, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can follow that at. I did put a little teaser out of my next build, so I'm gonna show you guys that now. We are finally building the Mayus MB24. So I'm doing a little different approach on this build. I'm gonna keep it modest. So we did order the Spectrum brushless motor. It's the censored one. So we got that all installed. We got the frame rails built. We got the body and chassis built. So we got the motor, we got the ESC, we got the transmission with the all metal gears installed. We also got the Enduro high clearance links. I went with the Gladiator size to try to extend the wheelbase a little bit. As of right now, we're kind of at a standstill because we are still waiting on the axle housings and some few odds and ends. But we do have a whole bunch of parts for it. So we're trying out this Ramp Crab servo. It comes with the servo tray and all that. I wanted to try this. I heard good things about it. We also got the rear axle truss. We got some 53mm shocks. My original plan was to run these +4mm axle shafts. So since my Dragonfly LCG broke the front axles, I did just order a set of the universal axle shafts for that. We got some hex extensions. We got the front steering link from Enduro. Then drive shafts, don't care about that. And then I am very happy that we got our hands on the new Trail tires. They are the Trail Burners, 62mm. So we're gonna get these mounted up to the wheels. And I'm very excited to give these a try. I always wanted to try them. They have a good tread pattern. They look pretty scale. So I think they'll fit this build really well. And then obviously we gotta install stickers. So like I said, I'm super happy to be building this. I've always wanted one and I finally just bit the bullet and I'm building one. So really excited to get this thing out once the axles show up. They should be here within the next week. So hopefully by next week, Sunday recap video, I will have this thing fully built. Then I will have a full video on this. Very excited, so stay tuned for that. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any action. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Sunday recap. We have a lot of cool builds going on. I'm excited to get them finished. I'm at that point where it's just a waiting game for the parts. I do have parts to finish the builds, but I like to have all new parts when I do new builds because I kind of have a mental picture in my head of what they're supposed to look like. So those parts with the color schemes and all that, it's all in my head. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate all the feedback I've been getting lately. I'll catch you guys in the next video.